tell us about your visit to the White House with Hillary Clinton? Um, you went to the White House and went to the map room, I think.
I was, among other many voluntary involvements, I was a member and for some years president of something known as the White House Historical Association, a voluntary group organized to raise funds to help preserve the White House and buy furniture, historic objects, and so on that you couldn't ordinarily get congressional appropriation for. And so the trustees of the White House Historical Association and officers are invited, have been invited, and continue to be invited to various White House events. Early in the Clinton administration, very early, the trustees were invited for a informal reception in the White House to become acquainted with the President and Mrs. Clinton, and so that they could become acquainted with us, because we would be working closely with them on various White House personal matters, furniture, art objects, historical items, not political at all, not at all political. And Mrs. Clinton assembled us on the Truman balcony on the second floor, and she looked around and said, "Had anybody been here before?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am. President Truman brought me here when the first day they'd moved in the White House." And she said, "Oh, did you know President Truman?" And I explained that yes, I'd been there. She hadn't any knowledge of our backgrounds of us. And she thought for a minute. And I was in the map room, and she said, "I've heard about the map room. But there's nothing there that indicates what it was. Do you have any?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I have a number of maps." "Oh," she said, "you must give us one." And I did. A map. It happened to be the last map prepared for FDR in April 1945, the last map prepared by the map room before he died in April 12, 1945. And at the time when we were dismantling the map room and throwing things out right and left, I saved a few items that I thought someday somebody would be interested in. So now that Mrs. Clinton wanted something of the map room, I presented it to back to the White House, and it's now framed and hanging in the map room. The map room ceased being a map room at the end of World War II. Now it's simply a small conference room in the House proper, where the President and the First Ladies can have informal meetings away from the West Wing, away from the East Wing, have total privacy. And so it's an actively used room. Incidentally, the most interesting recent use of what is still called the map, called by everybody in the White House and every place else, the map room, the most recent interesting use of it was when President Obama repeated the oath of office to the Chief Justice the day after the inauguration, because the two men had bumbled the oath of office during the inauguration. And lawyers were a little bit concerned. Was there any technical possibility that legal questions could be raised because the President had not been given the proper oath of office and had not properly responded? And so in order to avoid that, they ran through a second swearing in the map room on the day after, on January 21st, the day after the inauguration. So my map room continues to be used from time to time.